We will start the evening with Jeff Kirkpatrick. Jeff is the head of the Emergency Preparedness Committee, and it's my pleasure to introduce Jeff.
Thank you, Bill. Saturday night date night. Don't you have anything better to do? I'm telling you. Thank you for being here, everyone. I represent the Emergency Preparedness Subcommittee. We actually are a subcommittee of the Safety Advisory Committee, chaired by Ed Chavez over here. Can you hear me in the back? I got my Barry White thing going tonight, so bear with me. Our committee is a subcommittee, as I said, of the Safety Committee, and as such, our members currently, before we expand here, there's a hook out there, by the way. I'll hook you to join me in emergency preparedness. But our committee members are comprised right now of a couple of members of the Safety Committee, and they are, number one, Mario Diero. Mario, could you stand for us, please? I see you over there in the distance. Mario's over in this corner. Mario is a retired Santa Ana police officer and has been on the Safety Committee as one of the charter members and has lived in Sun City for quite some time now. He is a very highly contributing member, which is why I solicited him to join me in my endeavor. Our other member, and I don't know if he's here or not, is John Hone. John is retired LAPD, and he and his wife Tracy live here in the community, and they're both very active in different aspects of the committee. John, are you here? I don't see John. Right now, that's the Emergency Preparedness Committee. As you've seen, I'm going to get used to this thing. Never fails. Maybe if I move right. Thank you. That's the old push button technique. Chris is my button pusher in so many different ways. My name is Jeff Kirkpatrick. I'm a retired chief of police, prior service in Orange County, almost 40 years of service between Disneyland Hotel Security, Disneyland Park Security, Santa Fe Railroad Police, La Palma Police in Orange County, Seal Beach Police in Orange County, and Desert Hot Springs most recently. That was a fun trip. Thank God it was only 6 months. I retired in 2011, and I've resided here part-time since 2009 in Phase 3, and then in 2013 we traded up to a full-time residence also in Phase 3. With over 40 years of experience in law enforcement, and working for small departments, I've had the privilege and the honor, if you will, of handling just about all kinds of incidents in every position within all the police departments I worked. But my forte was disaster management, planning, and logistics regarding those kinds of issues. I really enjoy it. I enjoy training. I was the co-chair, founding charter member of the Orange County Training Managers Association, where we put all the police departments in the county on the same plate in terms of training and expertise. So training's one of my fortes, as is emergency preparedness. If you want any more info on me, because I can go on and on about myself, check out my site on LinkedIn if you're really, really bored. The next screen, Chris, thank you. I'm going to talk about why the EPSC, Emergency Preparedness Subcommittee, the EPSC was first chartered by the board. The board approached the Safety Committee back in January of this year and asked if the Safety Committee would please take on emergency preparedness for the community. Two things that surfaced with prior iterations of the Emergency Preparedness Committee were, one, the liabilities of the HOA as a corporation seemed to have been extended beyond measure, and two, we had gotten past the keep it simple, stupid philosophy of preparedness. And we were set up to do all kinds of things. Now, this is not, I say nothing here to discredit the prior folks that served on the committee. Everybody who serves on all these committees serves with the best of intentions. They bring their expertise to the fore, and they do it on behalf of all of us. And ours is no exception, and theirs was no exception at that time. But times have changed. So the board asked us if first we would look at our responsibilities under emergency preparedness in terms of, number one, mitigating homeowner corporation liability by not overextending us and just doing what is necessary to, number two, prepare our residents to be self-sustaining, not to depend on the HOA to come to their aid, not to depend on first responders outside the community to come to their aid, because as you'll see, when the big one hits, we're going to be down and out for a while, upwards of 2 weeks. Are you prepared in your home with your loved ones to sustain yourselves for that period of time? Now, my job, and I've had experience at this, is to create white knuckles. I'm just kidding. Thank you. Thank you. But we have to be prepared for what lies near us. Near us are the 10 freeway, the Burlington Northern Railroad track, main line. Thousands and thousands of train cars come along. When I was a graduate of the National Railroad Academy, I learned what a consist is. All those chemicals going back and forth on the train tracks are very dangerous. And they're put in a special consist in the line of the train so that one chemical in a pilot doesn't mix with another and spread noxious gases and everything else. Now, those of you who live in Southern California, you remember the Barstow crash as it came down the Cajon Pass, and it left the rails, and all those train cars mixed and made a huge mess in San Bernardino. That was about a decade ago, maybe a little bit longer. We don't want that to happen here. We have the freeway. How many of you have been stuck behind a train of trucks on the freeway? Daily. It just happens. It's the nature of the beast. With 10 being the major east-west causeway traversing our valley. Did you know that we have major oil and gas pipelines traversing the valley from the refineries on the west coast, LA and San Pedro, Wilmington, all the way east to Phoenix and beyond? All that fuel is passing beneath our feet. Did you know that just to the north of us, literally half a mile, you see that green belt of trees next to the granite plant running east and west, north and south? That, my friends, is the San Andreas Fault, biggest fault in California. And it controls the largest network of faults. So we're bracketed, we're surrounded by all kinds of good stuff. But we came to Sun City Shadow Hills to live the life of Riley. At least I did. I don't do police work anymore, thank God. But I'll tell you this, I love living in Sun City. But what I have noted is in meeting my neighbors and getting to know my neighbors, and some of them very, very extremely well, how unprepared they are as a group. Certain individuals are starting to catch my bug, and I don't mean the plague I've got right now. They're catching my bug. It's infectious. It doesn't take much to prepare yourselves. So we need to get ready for losses of electricity. The canal collapse. When the 7.8 magnitude San Andreas Fault hits us, it's projected to create a 20 to 40 foot offset on all of our freeways, our railroad tracks, our roadways, our bridges, the canals. So that brings up a host of other issues that we need to be prepared for. Power outages, flooding, chemical spills, gaseous clouds, things of that nature that you should be prepared for. I talked earlier about train derailments and truck crashes, and I'm talking now about the need to shelter in place. We also have the 100-year flood. You've seen the dike behind Phase 3, north of us here. It's not there for its good looks. I'm sorry, it's not really good looking. It's not there for its good looks. It's there to prevent us from being flooded, even though we're not in a flood district. But in the 100-year flood, it's projected that that berm will contain whatever water comes out of the hills. And then last in place, we have a biopandemic threat. We experienced it during 9/11, post 9/11, with the anthrax threats and things of that nature. And then there are other issues as well. I mentioned before that our primary responsibility is to mitigate liabilities. None of us we're all here to enjoy our really low resident fees. You know, we have the lowest fees in the valley for a community this size, and we're here to enjoy that. So we don't want to do anything that would increase that. And by failing to mitigate our liabilities, we run the risk of increasing those fees because they would be pass-ons to you and I. I don't want to raise my fees. I mentioned our mandate is to prepare full and part-time residents through training to survive for 7 to 14 days. That means having enough water on hand, enough food on hand, enough fuel on hand. You know, when the big one hits and the ATMs go down, where's your cash? Do you have a cash stockpile in your home hidden? Small bills so you can barter and trade and buy? Have you thought about it? Have you thought about what you would do when the power goes out in the summer and you have no air conditioning? Do you know where to find it? If you can find it, can you get to it? How many of you have motorhomes parked elsewhere? Don't raise your hand. Those of you who have motorhomes, great relief shelter, provided you can get to it. Do you carry a knapsack with tennis shoes and water, etc., in your car when you're out and about? You might be away from the house when the big one hits. You might be cut off by the collapsed freeway. Are you prepared to hoof it back to the house? It's the things that I think about. We are also charged with updating and maintaining a community emergency operations plan. We've done that. We're developing a core of key volunteers, and we want to prepare and train our associate staff in the event that they're trapped here. So if they're going to be hostages of nature, why not put them to work with us? So we're going to train them up as well and supply them.